So Diane Mulligan's debut teen novel, Watch Me Disappear, was released in August 2012. She teaches high school English in Central Massachusetts, directs the Betty Curtis Worcester County Young Writers Conference, and is managing editor of the Worcester Review. Originally from northeastern Pennsylvania, Diane is a graduate of Mount Holyoke College and Simmons College. She lives with her husband Todd, her cat Taco, and her dog Amelia in Worcester, Mass. When not writing or teaching, Diane loves to garden, bake, play her guitar, swim, hike, and ski. In other words, she doesn't sit still unless she's reading or writing. So just quickly, guys, before we welcome Diane up to read, Watch Me Disappear is available at the front desk for purchase, and it is $10. So, welcome, Diane, and we're looking forward to hearing you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks everybody for coming out, and I'm really excited that Christina invited me to read and share my work with you. So as she said, my novel is for teens, although I think that anybody who ever was a teen could probably relate to it, or if you have children, then you might be able to relate as well, or if you're a teacher. So I'm going to read a few little bits from different parts of the book. They're all pretty self-contained, but I'm going to start at the beginning since it's a very good place to start. I swear, every time we move to another town and I have to start over at another school, my mother looks at me and thinks, maybe this time she'll make some friends. She's a realist. She never advises me to go out there and be myself. Instead, she tells me to use this fresh start to reinvent myself, which means to fix whatever is wrong with me. All I want is to be invisible. My plan for senior year at my new school, get straight A's and get into a top-tier college. But this move is different from all the others. This time, my dad keeps reminding me, we're moving home to the town where he grew up. This isn't Texas, which is like another planet, or California, which is like another universe. My entire life, this has been the one place we've always returned to. But up until now, only for short visits. There's the park where I learned to ride a bike, the ice cream shop that makes the world's best mint chocolate chip, the hill behind my grandmother's house where my brother and I used to go sledding on snowy Christmases. Maybe this time I can let my guard down a little and not just be the quiet new girl. Or maybe that's just wishful thinking. The other day I was sitting on the back deck struggling to start my summer reading, and let me just say, whoever cast Keira Knightley as Elizabeth Bennet cannot have read Pride and Prejudice, when I heard a girl's voice through the fence between our yard and our neighbor's. I don't know, the voice said. My mom wants me to invite her to hang out this weekend. No, I haven't seen her, but my mom says she's cute. Uh-huh. A little pudgy. I know, right? My mom, had a tea party with her or something the other day. Yeah, with a teapot and everything. They're coming to the cookout this weekend. No way, he's not my father. Whatever. Okay, see you tonight. Then I heard a sliding door open and shut. The voice had been talking about me. I was the one her mother, had a tea party with a few days ago. I wondered if my parents knew we were going to some cookout, and if Mrs. Morgan had really called me pudgy. I wish I'd never let that stupid woman in the door, with her Talbot's clothes and fancy plate of store-bought cookies. She had rung the bell about half an hour after my parents left for Home Depot. Welcome to Hillside, she chirped, extending the plate of cookies toward me as I opened the door. I'm Patty Morgan, your neighbor. She gestured toward the house to the left of ours. She stood there smiling at me, her hands clasped in front of her chest like a Girl Scout awaiting a merit badge. When I didn't say anything, she tried to peek around me into the house and asked, Are your parents home? I felt like I was in a made-for-TV movie. Are your parents home are the magic words that unleash unspeakable horrors. I shook my head. They'll be back soon, I said, when she continued to stand there expectantly. And then, without quite realizing what I was doing, I invited her in for tea. I guess a week of being cooped up with just my mom and dad for company had started to get to me. She followed me into the kitchen, the one room of the house my mom had somewhat organized. I filled the kettle and set out the teapot and 2 cups and saucers beside the plate of cookies. "Lovely," she said, settling onto a stool at the kitchen island. "Like playing tea party. I usually just nuke water for tea in the microwave." I wished the water would hurry up and boil. It was a mistake letting her in. My mom would be furious. The house was still a mess, and this woman obviously wanted to spy on us. Besides, what did I have to talk about with a woman as old as my mom? "So you must be in high school," she said, her eyes shamelessly scanning our kitchen, taking everything in. I told her I'd be a senior. "So will my daughter Mara," she said, raising her eyebrows. The comment piqued my interest in my new neighbor. I thought it would be good to meet some people before school started. This was, of course, before I actually heard Mara talking on the phone. "I would have guessed you were a freshman or sophomore at best," Mrs. Morgan said. Noticing my expression, she added, "Believe me, one day you'll be happy you look young." I forced a smile. The kettle whistled and I filled the teapot. Then Mrs. Morgan started plying me with questions about myself. I've been well schooled in etiquette for interacting with grown-ups. Rule number 1. Answer their questions politely to show how appreciative you are that they are faking an interest in you. I found myself babbling away about English class and how I used to do swim team because my dad thought everyone should participate in sports, but I really hated it. And I only joined because there were no cuts. Mrs. Morgan is a smooth operator. By the time she was pumping me for information about my parents and why we had moved to Hillside, it didn't even occur to me not to answer. It's not like we have any secrets, but my mom is a very private person. If she heard me tell Mrs. Morgan about my dad's new job as CFO at St. Maria's Hospital, she would have killed me. When I mentioned it, Mrs. Morgan's eyes lit up the way cartoon characters' eyes turn to dollar signs when they think they've hit the jackpot. Mrs. Morgan is clever, though. She knew better than to linger on the subject of my parents for long. Instead, she asked me how I was adjusting to my new neighborhood. The truth. I don't like it at all. I wanted to live in the New England of Little Women, with old houses on a charming town common, but I got McMansions on Cornrow Avenue, Pumpkin Patch Terrace, Hayfield Lane. Seriously. The whole thing is arranged like a maze, with winding streets that sometimes connect to others and sometimes dead-end in cul-de-sacs, like the one we share with the Morgans. It's like a medieval fortress designed to confuse advancing armies so they never reach the castle. Every time my mom goes out on an errand, she gets lost coming or going, or both. It's tragic. Since no one ever seems to be out in the perfect green yards, she can't even ask directions. My dad might have to overcome his hatred of GPS units if she doesn't figure it out soon. But I didn't say that to Mrs. Morgan. Instead, I said, "It's really quiet." As long as we keep Mara inside," Mrs. Morgan said, laughing. At the time, I didn't know what she meant, but now I do. Anyway, my parents eventually came back, and as anticipated, my mother was angry that I let a stranger in. But she put her polite face on until Mrs. Morgan left. Then she grounded me, which was no punishment at all, since I didn't know anyone here, and I had nowhere to go. Okay, so that's the beginning, and so the basic setup of my character has moved, and it's going to be her senior year, and her next-door neighbor, Mara, happens to be Miss Popularity. So she sort of hopes that Mara will be her friend, but after overhearing her on the deck, it's not sounding too promising. Fortunately for Lizzie, that's the speaker here, Lizzie's mom becomes friends with Mrs. Morgan and basically sets it up so that the girls will hang out together and act like buddies. So I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. And so at this moment, Lizzie, it's just before school starts, and thanks to their mothers being friends, Lizzie's going to the mall with Mara to get a makeover first before school starts. I know the point of this makeup quest is to enhance my appearance, just as Mara was able to do so easily when we were dress shopping. But is it necessary to have someone point out all your flaws before they enhance your face? Mara and Catherine study me like a rare old painting, recently discovered and in need of much repair before it can be displayed. I may see flaws in my appearance, but I've always felt good about my complexion and my eyes. I've often thought I'd gladly stay chubby if the price of being thin were bad skin, and people have always complimented me on my big blue eyes. But there, under the carefully designed lighting of Sephora, Catherine finds all sorts of flaws with my skin, and Mara can't decide how best to brighten the grayish tone of my eye color. They proceed through my makeover without talking to me much. They just sort of examine me and put various colors on my face, and then sometimes wipe it all off to start again. I think they're having fun, not with me, but because of me. Do you tweeze? Mara asks, tracing a finger along my right eyebrow. No, I say. I think I have nicely shaped eyebrows, not bushy or anything. Should I? You really could use some more definition here. I mean, we can put some brow pencil on them, but you have to pluck these strays, she says. We can take care of that when we get home. Won't it hurt? I ask. No beauty without a little pain, Catherine says. By the time we're done, they have applied a yellow concealer beneath my eyes where Catherine says my thin skin gives me a tired appearance. Foundation over my entire face, which I protested on the grounds that I have nice skin, but Mara and Catherine both insisted that to be sure one is always ready to be photographed, foundation is a must. Rosy blush on my cheeks, eyeliner all around my eyes, 3 shades of eyeshadow in progressing layers, mascara, brow pencil, and face illuminating powder over the top, which is like a hint of glitter over my whole face. I cannot go out in public like this, I say, when they turn me to the mirror. You look great, Mara says. It really doesn't go with your hair and clothes, does it? Catherine says. She's right. It's just too much. Well, what don't you like? Mara asks. The eyeliner. There is nothing subtle about it, and I am pretty sure it makes my eyes look smaller. If you're going to be all dressed up, you need eyeliner, Mara reasons. You don't have to wear it every day, but you do need it. I look in the basket where they've been collecting the various products I have to buy. It's going to cost a fortune. I wonder if my mom's spending limit will even cover it. I wasn't planning to use her debit card, but seeing the price tags, I decided I should take this opportunity, as it might be once in a lifetime. How do you normally wear your hair? Catherine asks. Like this, I say. My hair, as usual, is in a ponytail. Catherine tugs out the elastic and ruffles her hand through my hair. Maybe we should look at some styling products, too, she says. You guys are going to teach me how to use this stuff, right? Mara assures me they will. I'm becoming their little test dummy and protege. In addition to my basket full of makeup, I also buy fancy shampoo, conditioner, styling mousse, a straightening iron, and hairspray, and perfume. I blow right by the $150 limit and have to contribute $50 of my own. When we get back to Mara's, they make me wash off all the makeup and wash my hair. Then I get my first lesson in hairstyling and makeup application. I like the makeup better when I put it on myself. I apply it more lightly than they had, so it looks more natural. Try as I might, I'm not very handy at hairstyling, though. I can't seem to tease the roots as Catherine instructed, and I have no luck with the updos they showed me. In the end, Catherine produces a small set of scissors and, while I hold my breath, trims some fringy bangs and layers, which we flat iron into a funky style. When they're done, I don't look like me, but I look sort of good. And good thing, too, because all the little pieces she cut are never going to fit in a ponytail. See, Mara says, that wasn't so hard. Maybe we should come raid your closet and see what we can do with that, Catherine says, laughing smugly. She had gotten a little friendlier as the day had gone on. When I let her cut my hair, I think that sealed the deal. She is at least willing to consider extending friendship to me. You won't find much interesting in my closet, I say. What, no secrets? Mara asks, suddenly turning our conversation away from the safe realm of appearances. My heart pounds. I'm not ready for this kind of conversation. Is this where they turn on me? Nope, I say, no cute clothes or skeletons. How disappointing, Mara says. I thought there was a wild child in you that we had yet to discover. You've met my parents. They don't allow for much wildness, I say. Exactly. Kids with strict parents are usually the ones who let it all out when they step outside their parents' grasp. I guess I'm still pretty much within their grasp, I say. Mara makes a tisk sound. I thought for sure there was more to you, Lizzie, she says. I shrug. I wish there was more to me, too. No time like the present, Mara says. Spend some time with us, and we might find your inner wild child yet. So, that's what I don't, the title is kind of referring to the bit with the cover and title kind of go with the bit about the makeup. That's like a makeup palette with a brush. And although I know the title might make it sound like there's going to be magic tricks, there are none. The magic trick is she disappears into her makeup and to her new character. So I think I'll leave it at that. And if anybody wants to chat at all, then, ask me questions, and I would love to chat with you. And thanks again for listening.
Is there any conflict?
Is this a series?
This is not a series. It's a standalone book, and it took me about 6 years to get to this finished product. Yep.
Is there any conflict in the book? Any dramatic conflict?
So my character Lizzie has an internal conflict of trying to decide if she should stay true to herself or if she should try to fit in with the cool kids. Basically, that's her big conflict is, does she be herself or does she let herself be this puppet they're turning her into?
My mind went to Salinger's Catcher in the Rye.
Mm-hmm.
Not from a young boy's point of view, but the other way.
Maybe a little. I think it's probably a little more upbeat than The Catcher in the Rye, I hope. But it's a great book. But Lizzie is more grounded than Holden. But I think that voice is similar.
So she disappears into her makeup, not in a science fiction sort of way.
No science. I know it's a little misleading. No science fiction. No, it's a realistic, and the story covers her whole senior year of high school.
No, that is a kind of disappearance because there are probably some kids that she knew the year before who you see her towards the end of the year who walk right past her.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that's true. So.
Where did you get the imagery for the cover?
The cover, this palette, I found on Creative Commons, which is a site where people put things out there and allow their copyright material to be used by others. So with the permission of the artist, I used that palette, and my sister did the graphic design with the fading and the makeup.
Oh, very nice. Yes. Very nice.
It's a team effort.
What was the most challenging part of writing the novel?
The most challenging part of writing it was, I think, finishing the first draft. Getting from start to a completed... Once I had a whole completed entity, revising it was hard, but I knew what was going to happen. It took me about 4 years to have a completed first draft, and then in the next 2 years I wrote 2 more to get to this.
Did you keep your first drafts?
I did, yeah. I kept them all as different documents, yeah.
Did you start with an outline?
No.
So it went where it went?
Yeah, and originally it had a totally different ending, too. So it went where it went, and when I revised, it changed a lot.
When you were studying in school, where did you put your emphasis in English? What period or what genre?
I did American Studies, so I didn't really study literature specifically, actually. So American literature is my interest.
Did that both undergrad and grad?
Well, grad school I went for teaching, so I'm a high school English teacher now. My students gave me, my writing club gave me a lot of input on this as I went along, so they kept me honest and realistic.
Can you use that in your classroom?
I think it might be a conflict of interest. But I have encouraged them to read it. So, and one of them told me that my character is very relatable, even though she's a girl. So, I teach an all-boys school.
It got reviewed in the school paper.
Yeah, the school newspaper did review it.
All-boys school?
It's an all-boys, yeah, St. John's in Shrewsbury. It's all boys.
Yeah. Well, I think they get a kick out of getting it, because I'm sure they stay away from this kind of book.
They
this time that might be it might be a revelation to them.
That's what I told them. It was giving them some secret insight.
Yeah, I found it hard to sit and talk and listen about makeup.
Yeah.
And and then it occurred to me, well, I guess girls must be, kind of sick of listening about fishing.
That's true. Actually, that's interesting. As I was reading that, the reason I picked that part to read is I did a blog tour where different blogs hosted me in the fall, and all the blog hosts got to choose from 3 excerpts, and all but one chose that excerpt to put on their blog, which really surprised me. But I thought, well, it resonated with the people who were reading, who were creating the blogs, and it kind of explains the title a lot. So I thought it might be a good one to give some insight into kind of this path of the story.
Now, I challenge you to write another book where you get into the mind of a young teenager boy.
Okay.
Like the guy in The Last Feature, I think the name of the book was, something like that. He got into the mind of a woman, and he was a man, and it was unbelievable that he could write these details.
Well, my next one has three point of view characters, one of whom is a man, and he's an adult man, and a sleaze bag.
Will that also
should be easy.
YA novel?
No,
that one's an adult book.
No, and I didn't really set out to write a young adult novel, but with teenage characters and a first-person point of view, as my marketing head says, that's more of a teen book, although most of the people who've read it and talked to me about it so far are adults. So.
Was the first draft in first person? I didn't think so. I remember reading your blog and you switched over.
I did, yeah. It was originally third person, past tense, and it wound up being first person, present tense. Yeah.
Well, you can get past that thing with the conflict of interest if they are sold at cost, so you don't make a profit.
True. When the ebook I have given away for free several times through Amazon, and I have begged them to download it. So when it doesn't cost them anything. So.
Hell yeah.
So is it true that you basically have to give away your first book?
I don't know if that's true for everybody, but
you think you could realize royalties from the book?
I've given a lot of them away, yeah. Because I would like to have an audience, and the ebooks are easy to give away. So I normally, when I've read, before I've read from my Kindle, which you read from your Kindle, I thought it felt a little sacrilegious in a bookstore to read from my Kindle. Although I like that I can make the font nice and big, but most of my distribution is ebooks. Well, thank you all very much for listening, and Happy New Year.